Hey, you guys, welcome to Fandom Is Magic. This is a show that me and my co-host, Speed Force Spector. How you doing, Speed Force?
I'm doing good.
Right on. We put this, we just get together and we chit chat about certain subjects that we both enjoy and we're both fans of, and we make it magic. You know what I'm saying? So for this video, we are going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Um, and we both like Sonic the Hedgehog. And just a little bit of knowledge, which means I Googled it. Sonic the Hedgehog is a Japanese video game series and a media franchise created and owned by Sega. The franchise follows Sonic, an anthropomorphic blue hedgehog who battles the evil Dr. Eggman, a mad scientist. There's more to it than that, but I don't want to get crazy into it. So first off, Speed Force, what is your experience with Sonic the Hedgehog overall? Did you play the original video games? Do you ever, because this spawned into video games, comics, cartoons, movies, all that good stuff.
I'm pretty much like one giant multimedia fan of
Right on.
Sonic. The first thing I ever jumped into, which was funny enough, like for my experience, because when I was like real young, I didn't have any gaming systems.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when McDonald's had Sega LED toys,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one I had was Cream the Rabbit, and that was the first character I got introduced to. And then, funny enough, years later, I was at a McDonald's for a birthday party, and it was at one of the play areas. And I don't remember what gaming system they had, but they had Sonic Heroes on the system, and I was playing that through the whole time. And I recognized Cream, and I pretty much Team Rose is probably, if it wasn't for that character, I probably wouldn't know too much about Sonic. So that was like my first gaming introduction. But I know Sonic more through cartoons. Mostly, I grew up on Sonic X, Sonic Underground, which is the black sheep of the cartoons, but I still enjoy it. Um, and then the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Um, and then from there, I got whatever games I could pick up just because for me, I would like, in terms of gaming, I just kind of picked up whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I more so picked up Mario than anything else.
Oh, right
Uh,
on.
but I started recently collecting the Switch games because I own a Switch now. And then recently I got into the IDW comics. I think a good couple of years ago, and I'm having fun with that. And then recently I got done with Sonic's at AM because you said you watched it before we ever started this video, and I was like, you were the one who had me take the plunge into watching that, so I had fun with watching that. So thank you for that one.
Oh, right on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, so me, I'm a little bit older than you, but I first started off with the video games. I remember very much the first one came out, played it, loved it. When the second came out, it was a huge deal because they added Tails, and I loved it. They in the second one they added this thing where you could just push the button to make him like spin really fast, and then he would zoom really, really
Yeah, the
fast.
Speed Dash.
Yeah, I
That's
loved.
what. Yeah, I like that addition.
Yeah. And then the third one came out. And I remember because again, I'm older than you. So there was this place called Blockbuster. And
Okay, well, I'm still young to remember Blockbuster now.
right on. Well, for anyone that remembers Blockbuster, so you would rent video games. You can rent video games from them along with movies. And I remember we got Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And so because back then you could mess with them and stuff. So I remember when we got Sonic the Hedgehog 3, we wanted it to play it more. So we put in a video game that was not Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and we sent that, it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We sent that back to Blockbuster, and then they called us like a week later and was like, yeah, you put the wrong game in here. So we got to play with it like for an extra week because they did not charge us, which was great. Fun story. So, and then I did watch Sonic the Hedgehog, the animated series that you talked about. speaking of that animated series, it was based off of the video games, and the program aired for 2 seasons.
Loosely.
Yeah, loosely, yes, I should say that. It was based off video games loosely, and then it ran for 2 seasons with a total of 26 episodes and that was from ABC, and that went from September 18th, 1993 to December 3rd, 1994, which I didn't know until I did this and I did my notes. But what did you think
And then
about
it
that?
can,
That
and then
in it?
it, oh yeah, and I'll I might as well, since you just asked me how I felt about that cartoon.
Mm-hmm,
Um, I really liked it. I was not sure for the longest time
mm-hmm,
if I would, because this comes from an era of Sonic, including Underground, but I didn't really know much about Sonic gaming wise at that
mm-hmm,
point. But this was so, like, at the time, even Sega didn't really know what they wanted to do story wise with Sonic. Like there was like the gaming manual had the story for the plot of it, but
mm-hmm.
outside of that general idea, like the world and landscape, they had no idea what to do with it. So I like that Sad AM just kind of just came up with an idea of Robotnik being a tyrannical ruler dictator and wanting to make everything roboticized for the
Mm-hmm.
animals and like pollution and all that stuff. And you have the freedom fighters. Like you had Sonic and Tails; those were the only gaming characters they had, and then
Mm-hmm.
everyone else was a completely original character. And
Right.
it's just a group of kids who had to grow up throughout all of that, turning into teenagers and going to stop Robotnik. And it's a cool sci-fi show mixed with environmental messages that Sonic has always had since day one, and I had a blast with it. I'm glad that you did push me to it, because for the longest time I wasn't sure about it because of the Archie comics, which
Right
that
on.
loosely continued the story but kind of did its own thing. And that the Archie comics is like one gigantic can of worms, that you'll have something really good and then you'll have something completely left field, like Knuckles having like a whole group of different versions and all, like a giant family tree and all that. It's complicated, but it's definitely an interesting piece of Sonic history.
Right on. Yeah. No, I remember because I recently well, by recently I mean like within the past, we'll say like 3 years, watched it with my kids because the movie came out, and the first movie, which we'll talk about, came out in 2020. And my kids wanted to watch a little bit more of Sonic the Hedgehog. So I started watching that cartoon because I was like, oh well, I watched this when I was a kid. And so, but it was I have to admit, it was a tiny bit darker than I remember. But at the same time, I was all like, oh yeah, I remember all this. Yeah, and everything. So um uh but I did enjoy it because I just remember watching it as a kid. Um yeah, and then you had told me about Sonic X, and so I watched a little bit of that. I didn't watch all of it because my time is like I don't have an overwhelming amount of it, but my kids do like watching it because I put that on and everything. Which I want to talk about one character very specifically, but let me just tell you a little bit about Sonic X. It is a Japanese animated television series loosely based on Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog video game series. It had 52 episodes broadcasting on TV Tokyo, with a further 26 episodes aired in the US and the United States and Canada. Um, One character that was in here was Amy, and my
Yes,
daughter loves Amy. I do like Amy too. She's not my favorite, but
same.
I do like Amy. And I want to talk about her when we start talking about these live action movies.
Yeah.
Um, I like this show like overall, but I have to admit, besides like Eggman, I think I'm more attached to the older show when it comes to, I don't like humans really involved. And the same thing for these live action movies, which
Ooh, that is an interesting take.
yeah, I personally like it like when they're, in their little world, and they're just all these anthropomorphic.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that a little bit
Yeah,
more later. But it's a good take.
yeah,
But I could definitely, because you said you grew up with the Genesis games.
yeah.
I'm assuming you didn't grow up with any other Sega consoles or when they jumped over to Nintendo systems.
If they did, I don't remember it. I just remember I remember I probably stopped playing them when they did well, I mean, I might have played them a little later on, but Sonic and Knuckles, but that came out in 94. And and that was the same year, kind of, when the third Sonic the Hedgehog game came out, because
That
they
is the third game.
well they do well they there's Sonic 3, and then
Sonic
there's
3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
yeah, it's but yeah, because I was reading up on it and everything. It was there were some issues, but it was like whatever. But yeah, that's probably the last like game I played and everything, because I'm old and video games aren't my jam as much as everything else. I do like
Yeah,
video
I
games.
understand that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do
I
like
get that.
video games. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah.
me, because I was born in 1999, and this was around the adventure era,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what it's loosely based off of. Season 2 takes place more so during those games, but
Mm,
it's a very loose interpretation of those games. But this was when they incorporated that Sonic 1 through 3 exists,
mm-hmm.
and then Sonic just the whole cast just looks a little bit different.
Right on.
And then that's when they introduce that, like, every location from those three games just take place on the same map as the adventure era, where there's humans and all that.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to the live action movies, or unless you wanted to talk a little bit more about the animated stuff.
I mean, I like Sonic X, Bit Flawed, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's an interesting show. It's like if Sonic was a Looney Tunes cartoon. I enjoy that. Um, Sonic Underground, again, guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah,
And I have
you mentioned, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned that I
a,
did not watch Sonic Underground. Uh Maybe I'll have to go and watch some of that a little bit
yeah,
too.
it's interesting. They decided, because we brought up Sat AM.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much what happened was Sat AM got canceled,
Mm-hmm.
and they just made a new cartoon altogether.
Right on.
And they decided, instead of Sally being the royal one, like, Sally's not even in the show, but it's like same idea. Robotnik's taken over, but now it's Sonic is royalty, and his
Oh,
his mom had to leave, and now Sonic has a brother and a sister, and
right.
they're in a rock band, and they go around stopping Robotnik, but also play music at the same time. And they made a vow that their mother would be found at a local Applebee's, and the show got canceled, and they never found her.
Oh, right on. Oh, bummer. Bummer that they never found their mom. So moving on to
Oh
Sonic.
yeah, and before we do that,
Mhm, yeah,
Sonic
go ahead,
Boom,
man.
Sonic Boom. I like that
Oh, right
show.
on.
It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
funny. Um, I haven't finished it, but uh, it it's one of the parts I do like of Sonic Boom. I haven't touched the games yet, but I like Sonic Boom.
Yeah, I don't mind Sonic Boom. I don't know of how I feel about the redesign of, that's the one where Knuckles is all huge, right?
Yeah, that was this was when they decided Sega decided to make Sonic more American, like a lot more Americanized than it already is,
Right.
and aimed at like a much younger demographic. So that's why it looks completely different. But it was just a spin-off
Right
it
on.
didn't last too long, but it's interesting if you look up the history and all that stuff for it.
Yeah, I should have done that before this, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. All right, now moving on to the live action movie of 2020. Real quick, how did you feel about this movie?
Okay, so I was a little bit more lenient.
Hmm.
The redesign definitely helps. That old design was, it
Right.
was interesting, I will say it didn't look too bad in different angles,
I
but
agree.
other than that, like in terms of that design, like I was so used to like things like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Scooby
Mm,
Doo being a bit uncanny valley, but I'm glad that they redesigned it to look more like modern Sonic, but at the same time be its own design altogether.
right on.
So I'm glad with the redesign, but like when I saw like the trailer and like the about, I'm like, oh, this is just Hollywood's fanfic of Sonic X. Okay. Um, and like I feel like going into that, knowing that, like, because it's pretty much the same thing. Because you watched Sonic X, as you said, it's pretty much like Sonic is from a different dimension, and he goes there and meets humans, and it's just the movie Home, but without Jim, whatever the guy's name from The
Jim
Big Bang
Carrey.
Theory,
Yeah.
Jim
Oh,
Parsons.
Jim Harson. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry. I thought you were talking about, I thought you
no,
were
not
talking
Jim
about,
Carrey.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
Um,
I had a good time with it.
right on. I
Definitely,
agree.
definitely flawed because like it was mostly just setup, and like I'm
Hmm.
glad it took its time with that, just mostly in terms of the Sonic aspect, just because this is a different interpretation, and I feel like they did a good job. Like I like that this version of Sonic acts more like a kid than anything else, and like Sonic is already a kid, but in terms of like writing, it's definitely all over the place, including the modern era, which that's a topic in of itself. But I like that they just wrote Sonic just as a regular kid, just with powers, and is just a little hedgehog man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I did like the movie. I thought it was fun and everything. Even though it contradicts me saying I don't like humans involved. Um, and I'll get into that in just one second when we talk about number two. But I did also I agree with you. I didn't really mind the old version, but I'm not attached to Sonic the Hedgehog as some fans are. I know some people are like, balls to the wall for Sonic the Hedgehog, which I'm fine with. I have nothing against that. That's just not my top tier fandom as far as that goes.
Yeah,
But I do like Sonic the Hedgehog, so I do understand fans wanting it to be fixed, and I'm glad that it was because I do think that the new design looks a lot better. Um, and as far as the movie goes, I did like it. I thought I wouldn't like Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik. I thought it would be too like, but I thought it'd be too silly, but I thought he did the right amount of silly. And he was actually my favorite part of the movie.
I felt
So
like I felt like with Jim Carrey's Eggman, it's like kind of like a nice middle ground
mhm.
between threatening like Sonic SATM, but having that modernization of him being a little funny, a little crazy too. So it was like an interesting middle ground, and then also you have like a little wedge of like the movie's interpretation, and I like the ingredients that they decided to just do for the movie just for that version. They knocked it out of the park for me.
Right on. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. So that leads us into Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, this is after the events of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and Sonic stays in Green Hills while Tom and Maddie Wachowski go on vacation when Dr. Eggman returns in search of the Master Emerald. And the Master Emerald was introduced in Sonic and Knuckles, which came out in 1994, with the help of Knuckles the Echidna. I hope I said that right.
You
Sonic
did.
and his new friend Miles Tails Prowler set out to find the emerald before it falls into the wrong hands. Now, how are you looking forward to this sequel movie?
I am. I'm really excited for this. I like that they combined uh, Sonic 2 with the introduction of Tails, and then the whole storyline of Angel Island and Knuckles and the Master Emeralds. I like that they combined just those two ideas into one movie. And
Mm,
since the trailer's out, I like that they're going back to when Knuckles was a bit more of a serious character, but like with a smidge of being a bit naive too.
mhm.
and it's not all he's 100% naive, which I don't have a problem with that. Like I find Boom Knuckles funny, but I like that they're going back to when Knuckles was a little bit more of a serious character. So I'm
Hmm.
happy for that,
Me
and I'm
too.
also happy that Colleen O'Shaughnessy, the voice of Tails in the current games, has returned to voice Tails again. Like I really like that voice for Tails, so I'm glad that we have that as well.
Right on. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm happy with everything you just said. One thing though that does I am kind of a little hesitant on is this all takes place on Earth, okay? And as I said before, I would prefer it to take place on, a place where there's no humans involved, because I'm like, and I get why they're shooting it on Earth, because we all live here. It just, but for me, I just go like, I don't know how, like, I don't know. I just think that maybe I would just like to see them on their own little planet, and
So I agree with
mhm.
this. With like I'm okay. Like I'll say this. Like I can't even say it's a hot take because like a lot of people do agree with me. But like Tom is a way more interesting character than Chris Thorndike from Sonic X.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Um, and I feel like I will say like the first film, like there was a few character development moments that they kind of skipped. Like there was like a moment in the scene in the car,
Hmm.
and they were having like that huge fight about whether or not Tom should stay in Green Hills or not. And I feel like that could have been handled just a little bit better. But I feel like overall, like I don't mind Tom and Maddie being Sonic's adopted parents in terms of this, which actually that brings me up to a good thing that I kind of glossed over. Um, One reason why I do actually like Tom and Maddie being in like that parent role slash when Longclaw was pretty much adopted mom to Sonic is like you had Sonic Satyam where I don't know, like I don't remember. It's been a while, but I don't know if they brought up Sonic having parents. But you had the whole thing with Uncle Chuck being roboticized, so he
Mm.
had one family member, and then in Sonic Underground, you had his mom having to separate from her kids, and at the same time, I think Uncle Chuck got roboticized or he just got killed off. I don't remember which one in Underground. And I like as a kid, I always felt bad. I'm like, yo, Sonic kind of needs like a good family dynamic. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that they gave me that here. So they kind of fulfilled one thing from one thing I wanted from my childhood. But in terms of the second film, I wouldn't mind if like they more so play a like a kind of like a not a backing role, but like a more of a supporting cast role, if anything else.
I
And
agree.
I know that they're introducing Gun, which is a government um, kind of like a CIA. I think I'm saying that right in the Sonic universe.
Hmm.
And I feel like if for me personally, especially with how Robotnik was characterized in the last film, in terms of a third film, if they're gonna touch Shadow the Hedgehog, they have to stay on Earth.
Right on.
That's jumping the gun just a little bit, but if they're gonna follow the adventure era, I would rather it make sense movie wise that it's on Earth than compared to being on Mobius or whatever they're calling Sonic's home world area thing.
Right on. Um, who is your favorite Sonic character?
Other than Sonic himself, I do like Tails and Amy.
Right on. Yeah, Tails is my favorite for sure. I love Tails. He's great. Um, yeah, I loved it when they introduced him in Sonic 2. And then I did like Knuckle when they introduced Knuckles, but I still just love Tails so much. He was always been my favorite. Um, is there a character you don't like from any of the Sonic the Hedgehog stuff that you've seen slash read slash whatever played?
Oh wow. Oh man, I it's kind of all over the place. I will say like like it's mostly just characterization really. Um but the Deadly Six from Sonic Lost World, most of
Mm,
the characters I'm not too fond of how they're characterized. Um like the only one I actually like is Zavok.
mm.
But I guess that's characters I don't like, I guess.
Right on.
I'd have to really think about that one, but I would say most of the Deadly Six.
Right on. I don't really like what was her name? Rouge. Is that her name? That bat?
I actually like Rouge.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I didn't hate her or anything. She just always kind of like annoyed me. Just like, oh, I'm so perfect. I'm like, are you though? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're designed great, but I don't know. But at the same time, I if I would not be a hill
then
I
again,
would die
then
on.
again, you're like, then again, you're kind of like you're watching Sonic X, because
Hmm.
I'm guessing that's the way you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would say kind of look into more media. Like I
Hmm.
wouldn't say she wasn't badly characterized in X, but in terms of like characterization in Sonic X, it's kind of like an up and down roller coaster on whether or not you like the characterization or not. So I would say
Right
look
on.
into it a little bit more, because I'm pretty sure you would probably like her in other media.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's just that because like I said, I didn't see all of Sonic X, but every time she popped up, it was like this whole like I'm just so great, and I'm just like I don't know who you Z Snap sister, calm it down. But I did buy my daughter a couple of comic books, and maybe I should just buy a couple more of those and just maybe read those. Um, so we already talked about the 2020 movie, but how do you feel? And we already talked about the sequel. Um, what character would you like to see show up in the third movie? If you could only choose one, we'll just do that because I know
Yeah,
there's.
that's easy for me. I
Mhm.
would like to see Amy in the movies.
I agree. That's
Just mostly because like she is my favorite Sonic character, as I said earlier. But at the same time, like I would like to see how they would interpret the character, and backstory wise. Like I'm curious to see that. And also I feel like given the cast that we already have, like they do definitely need Amy to round out the OG characters, but at the same time, they do need a girl character that's not a human and is actually part of the Sonic cast.
Yeah, I was gonna say Amy also. My daughter loves Amy, and we did a trailer reaction to the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and she's like, "Where's the girl?" And she was talking about Amy, and I was like, "Oh, Amy's not in it," and she was like, "Oh," and everything. I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, I was just
Me
like,
too.
yeah, it is a bummer because but I mean, at the same time, you can't just throw the whole everything plus the kitchen sink in the sequel and everything. Um,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. I think that in the next movie, for sure, if there's going to be any character that they introduce, I think Amy would be a great one to introduce in there, especially for female fans. Um, so, like I said in my trailer reaction, representation, guys, come on, come on. What would you like to see for this franchise going forward and going into the future?
Ooh, that's an interesting question considering where we're at in terms of the brand right now.
Hmm.
So currently speaking, right now it's the 30th
Hmm.
of the franchise. And with the newest game, Sonic Frontiers, they're definitely going into a new direction, not to mention an open world game, which is definitely different compared to what we've been getting from the 2010s era. I'm really having fun with the comics right now, and they just got one of the comic writers to write the games, which I think is a good direction. And then we have Sonic Prime, which is a new cartoon coming to Netflix where it's going to be about the multiverse, and it's from the people who did Ben 10. Um, so I feel like we're kind of right now, currently speaking, on pen and paper because a lot of it hasn't come out yet. I feel like we're getting into a direction where it's kind of like the 2000s again. I feel like the movies are kind of like one kind of proof in the pudding that we're kind of getting that, especially with what we've seen of the second film so far.
Hmm.
It does feel like there's like a nice unification of everything. So I guess that's the best term, is just like unification, and just kind of knowing what people like about the series and just kind of building upon that.
Right on. Yeah, I was just gonna say I didn't know about Sonic Prime, but I was gonna say another animated series because I like animation. Um, but I'll have to look into that because I'm quite excited about it if there is going to be another animated show. Um, and it's always interesting to see what they'll do as far as and like you said, connected kind of thing.
Well, not connected,
Mhm.
I should say, um, but more so of kind of making everything valid in its own playing field,
Oh,
considering the
okay.
fact that we do have the movie. Currently speaking with the IDW comics, they've made merchandise of the two new characters that are comic exclusive, which they've never done that with Archie.
Mm.
Um, and then with Sonic Prime, it's going to take place in the same continuity as the games, which Sonic X and to an extent Sonic Boom were like that, but there wasn't really a modern Sonic cartoon
Right on.
ever
Um,
since Sonic X.
I would like them to I don't know if you know anything. Do you remember the owl from the first movie? What it was
Yeah,
called?
Longclaw, yeah.
Yeah, where the was that in the game?
No, they made that up for the movies.
Okay, because though I was all like, I would like to see that character, a little bit more of that character as far as that owl's backstory, because she just popped up and then just got murdered. And I was like,
Well, we
interesting.
don't know if she got killed off necessarily, and
Oh,
at the
so,
same
yeah,
time,
you're
there
true.
was
That's true.
there was one part in the trailer. I don't know what location they're at, but it was when the axe swung at Robotnik,
Mm,
and on the axe there's an owl logo on it. So I think they might explore what the owls might possibly be connected to the Echidna tribe, because that's uh that's what was chasing Longclaw and Sonic at
right.
the beginning of the first movie. So I think they might explore that a bit more.
Yeah, I say do it because I thought that was a really interesting character. And when she first popped up, I was like, I don't remember that owl, but and then
Yeah,
she was
and
gone.
especially since the fact that she pretty much adopted baby Sonic, so
Yeah,
they definitely kind of got to touch on that a bit more.
yeah, and like you said, with Uncle what's his face, like uh,
Uncle Chuck.
yeah, Uncle Chuck, because I remember him because they did roboticize him. They made him a robot. And I was like, oh, and now I'm all like, I want to see Uncle Chuck in these movies and see where that go, where they go with that. See, that's the thing that I liked about like I said before, I liked it because that animated series was always it was a little dark and everything. And um I just liked that whole like Dr. Robotnik's invading and everything.
It's funny you say that because Sonic Forces, the last Sonic game,
Mhm.
they had that idea and they did not execute it well. I did enjoy my time with it, and at the same time, it did bring me back to Sonic Underground, where the same thing happened. It just wasn't like Sonic SATAM. So I'm
Mm.
definitely glad I got to watch that, because I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what I wanted for Forces and didn't exactly 100% get. But I did like that. I did like Sally and the rest of the Freedom Fighters. I thought they were definitely interesting characters before we ever really got Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and the other characters.
Right on. Yeah, no, I did. Yep, no, I just like that whole concept. Well,
And
I
since you brought up,
go ahead. No, you go ahead,
oh,
man.
like because you did bring up that you liked Sonic more so not touching the human world, but
Yeah.
I think if you played the adventure games or just looked up the story of Sonic Adventure, I think you might appreciate that a little bit more.
Okay.
Um, but I think you would definitely enjoy the IDW comics. Currently speaking, the first volume is already out in a nice. Um, oh, I can't think. But you know how like Marvel drops like their comics and it's like the whole run of that
Yeah.
issue.
The trade.
Yeah, the trade. Yeah, they already have that. I think you would like that because currently speaking, it's just all a bunch of just anthro animals dealing with Eggman and other characters. stuff, and I'm sure your kids would like it too because Amy's in it.
Oh, right on. I don't give them any comic books anymore because they will tear it up, and I'm all like, I am very much. I love comics, so
But for you, I think you would enjoy it because
oh, for sure.
I would say definitely give it a read, and then if you're more so interested, definitely pick it up as it continues because a lot of interesting things have gone on in the comics right now.
Right on. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. But yeah, no, I probably would like it. I love comic books, so
And then I think you would like the 30th anniversary book where it is classic Sonic with the games you grew up on,
oh, right
and
on.
they go on a little adventure in that. So I think those are definitely books you should definitely pick up if you want Sonic comic content that isn't Archie, because that is kind of hard to find.
Right on. Right on. I am looking it all up now. So but yeah. I do not have anything else to say about this. Is there anything else you want to add about Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, that's it. I'm all I could say right now is definitely 2022 is definitely the year for Sonic right now, and
For sure.
it's been a fun ride right now.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm excited for the new movie. I'm excited to look up all these TV shows. I've written them down that you as you were talking about them, and I will definitely, like, I was looking up the comic book, and it's like on Amazon for like $11. So I probably will order that when we get off here. But yeah. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining us on this video and everything. Tell us, what do you guys think about Sonic the Hedgehog? Do you love Sonic the Hedgehog? What was your favorite show that you watched? What's your favorite Sonic video game? Who is your favorite Sonic character? What character do you want to see show up in a third live action movie? Is it Amy, like me in Speed Force, or is there another character you want to see? You can go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like what we do here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and we would appreciate it if you also hit the like button. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye, guys.